2015 Cincinnati Bengals is definitely a Cincinnati Bengals team worth talking about. Ending the season 12-4, winning their division, and finishing tied for first in the AFC Conference with the Broncos and the Patriots granted them a 3 seed in the playoffs, meaning they only have to beat a 6 seed to move on in the next round in a wild card game. The season itself was full of light and hope for the Cincinnati Bengals, but in this wild card game, it turned out to be one of the darkest days in Cincinnati Bengals history. This is the darkest day in Cincinnati Bengals history. Saturday, January 9th, 2016, after death, if you believe in all that, a rainy and cold night in Cincinnati, Ohio. The rain foreshadowing the tears that were to come from the Cincinnati fans, giving it even greater implications for some great AFC wildcard football. Bengals win the toss and choose to defer, allowing the first half to get underway. The Pittsburgh Steelers begin their first series with a good old-fashioned Steelers first possession and 3 and out. Then a Jordan Berry punt. Bengals thank the Steelers for the waste of a possession and return the favor with a 3 and out of their own. Each team respectively does this to each other until 2 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first half, where the Steelers kicker Chris Boswell sinks a 39-yarder to put the Steelers up 3. The Bengals didn't get the memo and continued with another 3 and out, allowing the Steelers to get another 3 points before halftime, creating an 0-6 deficit for the Bengals starting the second half. The obvious unexcitement in the first half is no way, shape, or form foreshadowing what will happen in the second. To start the second half, the Steelers rack on another 3 points off of an A.J. McCarron fumble. Then, after another reoccurrence of a Bengals 3 and out, the Steelers put on 6, due to the Bengals allowing Martavis to be in his element of rolling up into the end zone, suspending the ball on his undercarriage, and sparking up an eventual Cincinnati Bengals run in this game. Before the sparks were ignited, I want to explain the current situation of this game. There are just over 20 minutes left in this football game, and maybe because the cold, dreary weather or the pregame party at the Puritan Adam Pac-Man Jones house has everyone a little drowsy, but the Bengals haven't been able to put any points on the board. They're currently down 15-0, and they need a few things to go their way to have any hope in winning this football game. Luckily though, there's still time on the clock. This will be the largest rise and fall of a football team you've ever seen in your life. At the end of the third quarter, Vontaze Burfict sacks Ben Roethlisberger, causing him to leave the game injured. All of the Cincinnati fans feel for his pain and decide to see if he wants any refreshments, all on their tab. Ben takes note of the action and goes into the locker room. 5 plays later after the injury, the Bengals score a touchdown, making the score 15-7 with 14 minutes to go left in the game. With the Steelers having their backup in, Landry Jones, their offense goes into an utter spiral downward, and they punt on the next drive. The Bengals kick a field goal, get the ball back, and score on a 25-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Green, putting them up 16-15 with 1:56 to go in the game, scoring all of their 16 points in the fourth quarter and grabbing their only lead of the entire game. After the Mike Nugent kickoff returned by Marcus Wheaton, there's 1:43 left on the clock, just enough time for Pittsburgh Steelers great Big Ben to lead a drive to win the game. But Ben is still either injured or enjoying the refreshments that the Bengals fans offered him. So the Steelers will have to drive 86 yards with backup Landry Jones. Landry Jones trots out to the field with the utmost confidence, and on his first pass throws an interception to Vontaze Burfict, who immediately jumps up and runs to the tunnel, signifying that this game is just about over. There's only about 1.5 minutes left in the game. All the Bengals have to do is run the clock out, get a first down, or even worse comes to worse, kick a field goal and go up by 4 points, so the Steelers have to score a touchdown to even win the game. The Bengals choose the most obvious one out of their options, run the ball and make Pittsburgh use their timeouts. But we must remember, it's been raining all night and the conditions are a little on the slicker side. With the Bengals' first play after the interception and Vontaze running through the tunnel, running back Jeremy Hill runs to the right and is met by linebacker Ryan Shazier, who strips the ball from Jeremy Hill, and the ball is later recovered by cornerback Ross Cockrell, about the only significant thing Cockrell ever did for the Steelers franchise. This is where things start to get dark and gloomy for the Cincinnati Bengals. As the Steelers' offense comes out to the field, Landry Jones remains on the sideline. Ben Roethlisberger comes out to the field with the offense. A quarterback who in his career has had a large number of game-winning drives, especially against the Bengals. But the Bengals would end up doing half the work for him. Roethlisberger and the Steelers would need to travel at least 58 yards to get into field goal range. Ben would hit Martavis Bryant with 2 passes, and Fitzgerald Toussaint with 2 as well. Toussaint also had a 4-yard rush, but that only got them to their own 37-yard line. With 28 seconds remaining on the clock, the hope was still high with the Bengals, but with high hopes comes high emotions. Ben would hit Antonio Brown for a 12-yard reception, moving them to around midfield, still not in range for a field goal. And using their final timeout, things were not looking good for the Steelers. But on the next play, as Antonio Brown ran across the middle and was sent a bullet of a pass by Ben, Vontaze Burfict lowered his shoulder, causing the refs to throw a targeting penalty and an automatic 15 yards gifted to the Steelers. As the Bengals went to complain over the last call and the training staff tended to Antonio Brown, Adam Pac-Man Jones, yes, him again, threw a punch at Steelers linebackers coach who was on the field checking on his injured player. This would cause another 15 yards forward progress gifted to the Steelers and placing them just on Cincinnati's 17-yard line for a 34-yard field goal attempt. In the last couple minutes of this game, the Cincinnati Bengals gifted the Pittsburgh Steelers 30 yards of field position to put a stamp on the darkest day in Cincinnati Bengals history. They allowed the Steelers to move up the field and then completely self-destruct to set up Chris Boswell for the game-deciding field goal. With this type of self-destruction in a playoff game, it will only go down as the Bengals' darkest day in franchise history.
It's up! It's good! The Pittsburgh Steelers have pulled off one of the most unbelievable comebacks in the history.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like the video, leave a comment, leave a suggestion for other sports-related videos, and subscribe.